Ready to continue our journey through ancient Egypt.
Absolutely. I'm eager to delve deeper into some of the aspects of ancient Egyptian life that we haven't really touched on yet.
It's excellent. One aspect that might surprise you is the sophistication of their legal system.
Oh, really?
They had courts, judges, and a detailed code of laws that covered a wide range of issues, from property disputes to criminal offenses.
So it wasn't just the pharaoh's word that was law. There was a system in place to ensure justice for ordinary people as well.
Precisely. Their concept of ma'at, which represented truth, justice, and cosmic order, was really central to their legal system. They believed that maintaining justice and balance was crucial for the well-being of society as a whole.
That's a pretty advanced concept for a civilization that existed thousands of years ago.
It is. And their legal system wasn't just theoretical. They had procedures for trials, evidence collection, and even appeals. It's fascinating to see how they developed such a sophisticated system to address disputes and maintain social order.
It makes you wonder what a day in an ancient Egyptian courtroom would have been like.
I know, right? It's a reminder that while their world was very different from ours, they grappled with many of the same issues of fairness, justice, and accountability.
Now, shifting gears a bit, I've always been intrigued by the role of women in ancient Egyptian society. Were they confined to domestic roles, or did they have more agency and influence than we might assume?
That's a great question. Compared to many other ancient civilizations, women in ancient Egypt enjoyed a surprising degree of freedom and autonomy.
Oh, in what ways?
Well, for starters, they could own property, they could inherit wealth, and even engage in business dealings. They were also involved in religious life, serving as priestesses, participating in temple rituals.
Were there any female pharaohs?
Yes, indeed. Hatshepsut, one of the most powerful pharaohs of the New Kingdom period, was a woman. She ruled Egypt for over 2 decades, commissioning ambitious building projects and expanding Egypt's influence through trade expeditions.
Wow, that's impressive. It challenges that common misconception that ancient civilizations were always male-dominated.
It does. While societal roles certainly existed, women in ancient Egypt were not relegated to the sidelines. They played active roles in various spheres of life, contributing to their society's cultural, economic, and even political landscape.
It's a reminder that history is often more complex and nuanced than we might initially think. Now, speaking of complexity, their pantheon of gods and goddesses is vast and often confusing. How do they make sense of all those deities?
Well, their religious beliefs were polytheistic, meaning they believed in multiple gods and goddesses. Each deity had specific roles, powers, and domains, and were often associated with particular aspects of nature, human behavior, or even abstract concepts.
So it wasn't just about worshiping a random collection of gods. There was a system and a logic to their beliefs.
Absolutely. Their mythology, passed down through generations, provided explanations for the creation of the world, the workings of nature, the cycle of life and death, and even the moral principles that guided their society.
And were all gods equally important?
While they had this vast pantheon, certain deities were more prominent than others. Ra, the sun god, was considered the supreme creator god, while Osiris, the god of the underworld, played a central role in their beliefs about the afterlife. Isis, the wife of Osiris and the mother of Horus, was revered as this powerful goddess of magic, healing, and protection.
So it was like a divine hierarchy, with some gods holding more sway than others.
You could say that, but it's also important to remember that their religious beliefs were very personal. Individuals and communities might have their own favorite deities, or local gods that they venerated.
Sounds like a very rich and multifaceted religious landscape.
It was. Their religious beliefs permeated every aspect of their lives, from their art and architecture to their daily routines and even their preparations for death.
Speaking of death, I'm curious about their beliefs about the afterlife. Was it a place of eternal bliss, or did they have a more complex view?
Their beliefs about the afterlife were incredibly intricate and fascinating. They believed that death was not the end, but rather a transition to another realm. The journey to this afterlife was perilous, filled with challenges and tests that the deceased had to navigate successfully.
And what role did mummification play in this journey?
Well, they believed that preserving the physical body was essential for the soul's survival in the afterlife. The mummification process, with its meticulous steps and rituals, was designed to ensure the body's integrity and prepare it for this journey.
So it was more than just about preserving the physical remains. It was about ensuring the soul's safe passage into the next world.
Exactly. And their tombs, especially those of the pharaohs and nobles, were not just burial chambers, they were elaborate homes for the deceased in the afterlife. They were filled with provisions, treasures, and even servants, all intended to accompany the deceased into this next phase of existence.
It's incredible to think of the time, effort, and resources they invested in preparing for the afterlife. It really highlights that profound importance they placed on this belief.
It does. Their tombs, with their intricate decorations, elaborate rituals, and wealth of offerings, offer this unique glimpse into their beliefs about death, their hopes for immortality, and even their understanding of the cosmos.
Now, while we've been focusing on the spiritual and religious aspects of their culture, I'm also curious about their more earthly pursuits. What do they do for fun? Did they have games, music, or forms of entertainment?
Oh, they definitely knew how to have a good time.
What were some of their favorite pastimes?
Well, they loved board games. Senet, a game played with dice encounters on a board with 30 squares, was incredibly popular. And archaeological evidence suggests it was enjoyed by people from all walks of life, from pharaohs to commoners.
So, sort of ancient Egyptian version of Monopoly.
You could say that. They also enjoyed games of chance, like throwing sticks or knucklebones, as well as more physical activities like wrestling, archery, and even swimming in the Nile.
Sounds like a pretty active lifestyle.
Yes.
And what about music? Did they have their own musical traditions?
Music played a very significant role in their culture. They had a variety of instruments, including harps, flutes, lyres, and drums. And music was incorporated into their religious ceremonies, their festivals, and even their daily lives.
So it wasn't just about entertainment. Music had a deeper, more spiritual significance as well.
Absolutely. They believed that music could appease the gods, soothe the soul, and even heal the sick. Their musical traditions, unfortunately, are largely lost to us as they didn't have a system of musical notation. But we can imagine their temples and palaces filled with the sounds of harps, flutes, and chanting voices, creating this rich and evocative soundscape.
It makes you wish we could travel back in time and experience their culture firsthand. Now, while we've been discussing the many fascinating aspects of ancient Egyptian life, I'm also curious about their legacy. How did their civilization eventually decline?
The decline of ancient Egypt was a gradual process, spanning centuries, rather than this sudden collapse.
What were some of the factors that contributed to this decline?
Well, a combination of internal and external pressures weakened their once mighty empire. Internally, they faced periods of political instability, power struggles between rival factions, and economic challenges.
And what about external threats?
They faced increasing pressure from foreign invaders, including the Persians, the Greeks, and eventually the Romans. These invaders, with their superior military technology and resources, were able to chip away at Egyptian power and eventually conquer their land.
So it was a combination of internal weaknesses and external pressures that eventually led to their downfall.
Precisely. It's a reminder that even the most powerful civilizations are not invincible. They are susceptible to the forces of history, the ambitions of rivals, and the ever-changing dynamics of the world.
But despite their eventual decline, their legacy lives on, doesn't it? Their monuments, their art, and their stories continue to fascinate and inspire us thousands of years later.
Absolutely. The ancient Egyptians left an indelible mark on human history. Their achievements in art, architecture, science, and culture influenced later civilizations and continue to shape our understanding of the past. Their story is a testament to human ingenuity, creativity, and the enduring power of belief.
One mystery that's always fascinated me is the construction of the pyramids. Like, those colossal structures seem almost impossible to have been built with the technology available at the time.
Right. The pyramids have sparked countless theories and debates over the centuries. And while we understand the basic principles of their construction, using massive stone blocks, ramps, levers, rollers, and sheer manpower, the exact techniques they employed, it remains a source of fascination and speculation.
What are some of the most intriguing theories out there?
Well, some researchers propose that they use internal ramps or even a system of water-filled canals to transport those massive stones. Others suggest that they might have employed sophisticated methods of leverage and counterweights, techniques that are still not fully understood today.
It makes you wonder if we've lost certain ancient knowledge that allowed them to achieve such incredible feats of engineering.
It's certainly a possibility. The pyramids continue to challenge our assumptions about ancient technology and the capabilities of human ingenuity. It's really amazing.
And it's not just the methods of construction that remain mysterious. Like, the purpose of the pyramids themselves is also subject to debate, isn't it?
It is. While they're undoubtedly tombs for the pharaohs, many researchers believe they also served a symbolic or even astronomical function. Some theories suggest that they were aligned with specific stars or constellations, reflecting the ancient Egyptians' deep connection to the cosmos.
It's incredible to think that structures built thousands of years ago could hold such symbolic and perhaps even scientific significance.
It is. The pyramids aren't just tombs, they're testaments to the ancient Egyptians' understanding of architecture, astronomy, and their very profound beliefs about the afterlife.
Now, speaking of beliefs, one aspect of ancient Egyptian culture that's often misunderstood is their use of magic. Was it just about superstition, or did it play a more significant role in their lives?
Well, magic, or Heka as they called it, was an integral part of ancient Egyptian culture, and it wasn't seen as something separate from their daily lives, but rather as a force that permeated the world around them.
So it was more than just about spells and incantations.
Exactly. They believed Heka could be used for both practical and spiritual purposes. Priests and magicians used rituals, amulets, and spells to heal the sick, protect against evil spirits, ensure a bountiful harvest, and even influence the outcome of battles.
It sounds like magic was intertwined with their religious beliefs and their understanding of the natural world.
Absolutely. They saw Heka as a way of harnessing the power of the universe, working in harmony with the gods and the forces of nature.
It's a reminder that what we might consider superstition today was, for them, a deeply ingrained part of their worldview and their approach to life.
Indeed. Their beliefs about magic offer a glimpse into their spirituality, their understanding of the cosmos, and their desire to control the forces that shape their lives. Really fascinating.
Now, shifting gears a bit, one question that often comes up when discussing ancient Egypt is the issue of race and ethnicity. Were the ancient Egyptians Black Africans, as some claim, or were they more closely related to people from the Near East?
That's a complex question that's been the subject of much debate and controversy over the years. It's important to approach this topic with sensitivity and nuance, recognizing that modern concepts of race and ethnicity don't necessarily map onto ancient populations.
So it's not a simple black and white issue.
Not at all. The ancient Egyptians were a diverse people with influences from various regions, and their physical appearance likely varied over time and across different regions of Egypt.
And what does the evidence tell us?
Well, archaeological evidence, including skeletal remains and artistic depictions, suggests that they shared physical characteristics with both sub-Saharan African populations and those from the Near East. Genetic studies are ongoing, and the picture is still emerging.
So the debate continues.
It does. But perhaps it's more important to focus on understanding the complexity of their culture and their contributions to human history rather than trying to fit them into narrow racial categories.
It's a reminder that the past is often more nuanced and multifaceted than we might initially assume.
Absolutely. The ancient Egyptians were a unique and fascinating people, and their story deserves to be told in all its complexity.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive into ancient Egypt, exploring their beliefs, their achievements, their challenges, and even some of the enduring mysteries that surround them. What do you think are some of the key takeaways for our listener who's so captivated by this civilization?
I think one of the most important takeaways is that ancient Egypt wasn't a static, monolithic civilization. It was a dynamic society that evolved over thousands of years, adapting to challenges, embracing change, and leaving behind a legacy that continues to influence us today.
It's a reminder that even civilizations that seem so distant and foreign were ultimately created by people who grappled with many of the same issues we face today. The desire for knowledge, the search for meaning, the need for order and justice, and the struggle to understand our place in the universe.
And their story is a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit, the ability to create, to innovate, to overcome adversity, and to leave behind a legacy that transcends time.
So as we resurface from this deep dive into ancient Egypt, I hope our listener emerges with a newfound appreciation for this remarkable civilization, a sense of wonder at their achievements, and a desire to continue exploring the mysteries and complexities of the past.
Well said. The study of ancient Egypt is a journey of discovery that never truly ends. There's always something new to learn, another mystery to unravel, and another insight to gain. And who knows what secrets still lie buried beneath the sands, waiting to be uncovered by future generations of explorers and archaeologists.
It's a tantalizing thought. Thanks for joining us on this fascinating journey into the world of ancient Egypt. Until next time, keep exploring.